Very much, Courtney. And I want to bring in Shira Toeplitz, who is the political reporter for Roll Call. Aaron McPike, national political reporter for Real Clear Politics, and Washington Post columnist Dana Milbank is back with us. Did you know the Kim answer, Dana?
Well, it's easy for me to say so now, isn't it?
All right, now to the serious stuff. The president obviously shoring up his support among women, as Courtney was saying, with his appearance on The View. He also had that commencement speech at Barnard College, which is an all-women's school. I want to just play a little clip from that.
How far your leadership takes this country, how far it takes this world, well, that will be up to you. Don't just get involved. Fight for your seat at the table. Better yet, fight for a seat at the head of the table.
Shira, is that a commencement speech, or as you heard it, did you think a political speech?
I think it's a little bit of both, Chris. I think it should be noted that the president asked to speak at Barnard. They originally had another commencement speaker planned, but he asked for this several months ago, and this is what he wanted to do. This is the message he wanted to deliver there. And the White House has not made it a secret that female voters are very important to their strategy to winning a second term. And I think this plays into that, as well as some of the points he highlighted during his speech.
And Dana, in your latest column, you call President Obama the first female president, and you go on to say, and I'm quoting you here, Monday's activities veered into pandering as Obama brazenly flaunted his feminine mystique. Did he go too far?
Well, I don't know what too far is. Look, I mean, if it's an election season, and the idea
so there is
to
no
win.
Such thing as too far.
It doesn't seem, based on everything we've seen so far this year from both sides, there's no such thing as too far. It seemed to me a little bit heavy-handed to bump a woman from giving the commencement address at Barnard and then praise women there, then go on to The View. He secured the all-important Betty White endorsement, but it's just been one policy after another. The Violence Against the Women Act, the contraception, all of these are in their own right important, but it's just been the collection of issues. It's very clear that the president is trying to exploit the gender gap, which is working to his advantage. So, you know, that's what you do to win an election.
Yeah, Aaron, I couldn't help but notice he mentioned not only his wife, his mother, his grandmother, his mother-in-law, his two daughters, Hillary Clinton, Hilda Solis. Am I missing anybody?
No, but I would point out that his two daughters he mentions all the time. I mean, Malia and Sasha have come up a lot this past year in a way that we didn't hear them coming up in his 2008 campaign when they were very little. I mean, now he's using them to say how he's arrived at some of his decision, whether it was in his interview last week when he came out and affirmed his support for same-sex marriage. He said that he talked to Malia and Sasha and how they couldn't believe that friends of theirs who had parents who were same-sex couples would be treated any differently than their own parents. He talked about them in reference to the Trayvon Martin case. He talked about them in reference to the Sandra Fluke controversy. He's talking about his daughters a lot. So women's issues have been are obviously very important to him, and he personalizes them.
But you wonder if they're working. I mean, this new New York Times poll shows that the president is now trailing Mitt Romney among women by 2 points, that he is down 5 percentage points since April. Shira, do you buy that?
Not completely. I'm going to wait and see for some more polls. I know MSNBC Wall Street Journal poll is going into the field later this week. I'm going to look for that. I'm also going to look for some other poll results. I think voters need some time to digest some of the big news that's happened over the last couple weeks. They need to see some of the pushes the president has made in terms of these women's issues and also the gay marriage thing. Voters don't immediately digest something and then it's shown in the poll results. Usually there's at least a week lag on a lot of these issues. So I'm just going to wait a little while longer to see what the next round of poll results show.
But Dana, given the gender gap on the other side and men favoring Mitt Romney, the president has to win women, right, to win re-election?
He does, and he will. It's a question of by how much he will, and certainly the vast majority of polls show him with a significant advantage there. On the gay marriage issue, incidentally, it's a much larger gender gap, so that's another one that will probably reinforce the Democrats' advantage on that issue. But yes, he assumes that he will win women and lose men. It's a question of how large that gap is.
Are you one of the folks, though, who believes, I mean, we look at all these issues and they are important to women, contraception and so on, but ultimately that they're the ones who control the pocketbooks still in many households. They're out earning men more than they have, at least in marriages in the past. And, you know, we're getting more female graduates, more PhDs, more master's degrees, as the president pointed out yesterday. Aaron, do you think ultimately for women it's no different than men? It's the economy, or do some of these other issues really sway voters?
People do look at other issues that are very important to them. You know, immigration is something that Obama talks a lot about because he's making a push for Latino voters. So he's talking to certain constituencies about other issues that are important to them other than just the economy. But you talk to women strategists and they will tell you time and time again, it does go back to the pocketbook. And that is why the Romney campaign has been very effective in using Ann Romney to push that very message.
Aaron McPike, Shira Toeplitz, and Dana Milbank, who came back for a second appearance. Thank you all.
Thank
you. Facebook, speaking of money, Facebook